want them to get used to how different type of distortion as if the input gain is too much. So if I'm talking here and I'm saying, hey,
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Two Fish Tuesday. I think that might be what we're going with. No one's told me different, but sometimes everybody's so busy we never hear from people. But here on Two Fish Tuesday, we try to bring a little bit of real world solution to your cybersecurity and network needs. Two Fish Technology excels here in the Amarillo area at helping small, medium-sized businesses protect themselves and stay clear of ransomware, whether that's through the technology and AI and manned services they have, or helping to instruct your employees on what to look for. We've been talking a little bit about budgeting for cybersecurity. In fact, in the last week's episode, we talked about how much should you be spending, and talked about percentages of revenue that you might look at as a baseline. And this week we want to talk about where should you spend first, where's going to be the best bang for your buck. And unfortunately today I'm by myself, everyone else is out, and so you're going to listen to me kind of give a few ideas about what questions you want to ask your provider as you're going through this, and just general ideas and thought processes of how to structure your cybersecurity. So, first thing, what are the most important cybersecurity investments for small businesses starting out? As a group, we got together, we talked about this. Security awareness training. We've talked about that many times, something that Two Fish does and employs well. It's those little bit of training that gives us the real world solutions that we take for granted every day because we think that we're good enough at getting those real world solutions and figuring them out. But this is security awareness training to educate employees to recognize phishing and social engineering. That's going to be step one. If you're working with the group and they're not including that with your offer, or they're not offering that, keep looking around, because that's going to be a look for a real professional in this security area. Multi-factor authentication. We've been through that a couple times too. It's a cheap but powerful barrier to unauthorized access. It's those little things that you've got to, you put in your password and you're lucky if you remember that, like me, or you've got it on your laptop so it pops up automatically. And I probably shouldn't be saying those things because that gives the hackers just another reason to come after me if they think they're going to get anything. But multi-factor authentication is, you might get emailed a 6-digit number, or you might have to use a QR code to then go in and find a password or a 6-digit number to let you into your account. That's just for your benefit, and the more and more that I've used it, the more and more that I think it's real simple to use. It's just another step to make sure that we're staying as secure as possible. The third guiding question on the most important cybersecurity investments for small businesses starting out: endpoint protection. Here at Two Fish, we call it EDR, endpoint detection and response. It's whenever your system is included into a network, and when one of those computers in a network happens to find something on it that shouldn't be there, either a malware, a phishing attempt, it'll cut that computer off from the network. It detects and responds by cutting it off so that whatever virus, whatever malware can't crawl back into your system. I think a lot of this is like securing your home. You train your family not to leave doors and windows open and unlocked. And a lot of this is just now we're installing locks with 2 keys on them. And another analogy might be, well, we're also setting up cameras so that you can see it. And that's what you're doing with your cybersecurity stack, is layering in there the tools you need to keep your small business or your home safe. We talk a lot about the small business, but these tools are available for your consumer level, personal, your home. and we can talk to you more about how to implement those things if you ever have time. Or hey, let us know by putting something in the chat, and we'll love to visit with you then. We'll reach back out to you, or if we're live, chat with us and we'll answer your questions live. We'll answer them. We don't know if it'll be a good answer or just something we come up with, but we'll answer them. Okay, question 2. Why is security training more important than expensive software? The answer goes back to our training of humans. Human error causes 80 to 90% of breaches. Human error is going to be responsible for clicking on that phishing email or opening up that file that crawls through your system. So a well-trained employee can stop a phishing attempt in its tracks, but they have to be trained up first. They have to be looking at it and on top of things. So, and training is affordable. Because these threats are always changing, training has become affordable, has become scalable, because you're going to want to do it recurringly. You're going to, for a small team, for a large team, you can scale through that, make sure that you have recurring training and getting your people up to speed as best possible. A big question we have, isn't antivirus enough to protect our computers? How often does your antivirus update? Daily? Hourly? Are you sure that it's being updated? Is it just the stuff that came on the computer? Is that what you're working with? Legacy antivirus is often outdated. And the tools that you need to keep yourself secure from these hackers, from these, their business, their goal is to break into things and breaking across these antivirus thresholds. So if that's all you're working with, you may as well just have the door open. Modern threats require endpoint detection and response. The EDR that we talk about is exactly what you need so that when that threat occurs, you can localize and cut the threat off from the rest of your network. And when you pair this EDR up with training your employees, maybe the most important thing is backups. Now you've got something that you can set into place with a backup in case you do get hacked. You've got employees that know what they're looking for so that they're not going to get hacked. And you've got endpoint detection and response that's going to cut your systems apart so that you can make sure and stay on top of a healthy network. All right, I've got to get a small drink of water. If someone could hand me.
There's coffee here.
Well, it's coffee, water. I get so parched talking about these things. We did have Josh Knighton. He came in. Josh has been out with some clients and not always available to sit in with us. But we've got me here, Dave, Josh. He's in and out. He might sit down. I don't know, but we're going to get through these anyways.
I'll just be the man behind the glass today. How about that?
I know that if he's nodding his head in agreement, then I'm talking, then I must be doing a good job. That's all I can think. So, Josh, thanks for handing me my coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been through security training. We've been through some antivirus. Our next question, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, how does MFA actually help if I already have strong passwords?
That is correct, sir.
All right. MFA, if we remember correctly, is our multi-factor authentication. So if I have strong passwords, why do I, and I'm fairly certain that no one's going to break a 101 character type password, why would I need this? Well, that 101 character password, it can be compromised. And the goal of who you're up against, whether you like it or not, their goal is to compromise your password. MFA ensures that second layer of protection, because then you're going to you've got these two doors and two locks on that door to enter in through. And even if a hacker steals your password, the MFA blocks that access unless they they have your device, because you're only going to be able to get that second password in through a separate device. This is something that we found is often required in cyber insurance or vendor contracts, that they are moving to make the risk less averse, and so that you've got to, we hate to make it sound like you've got to jump through more hoops, but the bad guys have to jump through even more hoops than what you've got to get through in order to compromise your system. And that's what it's about. So if you've got a cyber contract, a cyber insurance policy, and you're not sure if some of these mitigation needs are warranted, well, give us a call. Let us know, and we'd love to crawl through that language with you and make sure that your business is all set up just right. Okay. Question 5. What's a smart way to implement all these without overwhelming my team or wallet? This is what, at Two Fish, this has been one of the big, I don't want to say hurdles to get over, but the big mindset is, how do we keep the clients secure? How do we make the tool stack affordable? And how do we get people in and onboarded in a way that everything makes sense and clients actually use them? So our bundled tool stack works in a way that, and this is what I would suggest if you're going to go out, looking for a cyber tool stack, or if you're shopping around for one right now, look for some that are already built in together. It doesn't mean that they have to be made by the same software company. Doesn't mean that they have to be totally offered in a package that you buy right off the shelf. But if your security provider isn't taking the time to put together a complete software stack and onboard you into how that works, you might want to think that maybe stepping back away from that provider, looking for someone who has thought through the entirety of the road for which a hacker may take to get into to access your system. We did get Josh to. He gave us a little bit of time, and I make it sound like he didn't want to be here. I know he wants to be here. I know he's a busy man. We just really appreciate it whenever you've got time to sit down and visit with us.
Oh, you're good. Sorry.
We're rolling through question 5, talking about implementing these tools without overwhelming your team or wallet. And Josh, I know you have built teams from the ground up through your time in finance and banking. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that this kind of question is something that you're really that you know inside and out. Can you give us some light, shed some light on how a small business might look at that question?
Yeah, I would say one of the most important things to do, especially when you're looking at hiring either an MSP, like a third party, or doing it in-house, is really to make sure you have the right people. I know it sounds really cliche and kind of a dumb answer, but honestly, it really is about making sure you have like those A-tier kind of people. And they're expensive and they're not easy to come by, which is why you need a good third party like us. A little bit of a sales pitch for Two Fish, but we do have those really high level, high tier kind of guys that we're paying quite a bit for, and we're really proud of really like having them. Guys like Jason and who can really step in and has a really good understanding of this stuff, has experience with it and all that. And so as a small business, you might not be able to hire somebody like that, just as yourself, where it's just not feasible. And that's where a contract with us, or a company like us, if you're not even in our area, would really come in handy, is being able to have those A-list, kind of A-level kind of guys.
And that's kind of part of that bundled tool is having the right human aspect in your quiver, as well as having the right software stack, the right EDR, the right manned security operations center, so that when something happens, you know that someone's there watching it with you.
Yeah.
You can't always So in my mind, if I'm a small business and I'm going out to look for something like this, you've really got to take your time to make sure that the software packages that are going to be represented are going to do the work, and the team behind that knows what's going on. So it's you shouldn't be embarrassed or taken back by us thinking, oh, I need to spend some more time interviewing this group. So
yeah, I'll give you a really good example of it. So we love working with with everybody. It doesn't matter what your business is, but we've had a lot of success lately. We're really kind of pursuing like dental offices, for instance, is a good example of that. I don't know how to do a filling, right? And I'm not embarrassed by that. And I'm not claiming to be a dentist. But I dang sure know how the software works, how the x-ray machine, like how the x-rays work, how the imaging works. I know all the needs around maybe what that dentist or that dental office needs. And so it's really finding that good marriage of, somebody who can help you do your job better and more secure and safer. And so that's really kind of where we come in is being able to do that on a really consistent level. So
I like that word consistent, and it kind of goes into some of the other answers that we came up with for this question of what's a smart way to implement all these without overwhelming my team or wallet. Use bundled tools. We talked about that, how the human aspect goes along with it. Rolling out multi-factor authentication, MFA, and training first. That seems to be the biggest bang for buck is working with your humans, and then adding in that SDR. Now with Two Fish, you get all of it from the get-go. You've got one package for security, and I like that. But I think that really gives a strong background of if you're new to having these discussions with a security provider, of what questions need to be that first and foremost on your mind. Okay, let's get into number 6. Before that, let's go back up. You got anything to add for any of these? I don't want to leave our audience out on.
No, you're good. I think you probably already touched on it, but the very first question, the most important investment starting out is definitely in training. So I think I'm sure you probably talked about it, but cybersecurity awareness training is such a big deal. Just being able to and literally that's kind of like the wild card in every network and every business. It's your people. So if they don't know what to look for, they don't know a proper procedure on, I got this email that looks a little suspicious, whatever. It's that training. So I'm in a B&I group here in town, and last week I got to speak, and half my presentation was it was kind of that. We did like this kind of fun, goofy cybersecurity quiz kind of thing. But afterwards, I had a lot of those business owners come up to me like, I've never had anybody explain stuff like that before, or I've never really thought about, this that way, or whatever it might be. And they were just goofy questions like, you get an email from a Saudi prince, needing help, that old scam like back in the day. That's still happening, by the way. And there's still people that fall for it.
There are still Saudi princes out there, I reckon,
and they need you to help them get their $3 million. So, yeah.
I would not encourage anyone who receives an email from a Saudi prince to go for it.
No,
Carmen Fenton?
Don't do that.
I'm talking to you, Carmen.
That's funny. And then, like things like CEO fraud, where you get an email that looks like it's from your CEO, but it's really not. How do you tell? How do you know if it's them or not? And internally, you need to have the processes and training in place to say, my CEO emailed me wanting all of these gift cards, right? That's the one that's going out right now. And, don't just be all philanthropic and think, we need to up morale, so I'm just going to do this. You should have procedures in place that says, if this is coming from my CEO in an email, I need to pick up the phone and call my CEO or go walk down to the hallway and say, hey, was this really you? It's just simple stuff like that you need to be able to train your people on. And you need to do it quickly, as soon as they come on, and consistently. So keep the training up, keep those things up. And that's that's one of the I'll say the lowest cost things to implement is cybersecurity awareness training. We're actually going to start doing sessions, here in town to bring folks in and just do those kind of things, where we do like an hour kind of thing, and we just sit down and working with some other providers, even maybe if you're a doctor's office and you have to keep up with your continuing education credits, if you're a dental hygienist or whatever it might be, we're going to do that training where you actually get CE credit. That's toward your training and toward your, keeping your license up to date, stuff like that. So that's all stuff that we're looking at, and it's really affordable. I mean, it'd be like $100 a head, and we give you lunch with it and all that kind of stuff. So just stuff like that we're,
great.
That we're doing that you should be looking forward to.
And that comes back, everything that you said is exactly, these are the answers that we had. Human error causes 80 to 90% of breaches.
Yeah.
Well-trained employee can stop phishing attempts in its tracks. Mm-hmm. Would you rather spend $200 on training or lose $20,000 to a fake invoice scam? And those are real numbers, and the $20,000 can be low.
It's very low. As a matter of fact, the lowest one I've actually seen in the wild was about 50,000. So, yeah, it's 50,000 and up usually.
Inflation is hitting our cyber costs, cybercrime costs.
Yes.
Okay. Question 6 then. How can I measure whether these investments are working? Fewer phishing click-throughs after training. Mm-hmm. Is the training working? MFA logs showing blocked login attempts. If someone has been trying to get in and they're trying to use your multi-factor authentication, there will be a log to show that, and you can go back and see, did someone try to hack into this system?
Yeah, and a good MFA will actually send you an email and say, was this you, mm-hmm. right? Or were you trying to log in? Or you'll get the notification that somebody tried to log in, and it might pop up if you're using like Microsoft Authenticator, for instance. It'll pop up and say, here's the code that you need, and you're like, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. Then it's pretty good red flag to be like, oh man, I need to go change my password. Yeah,
may mean you need to change your password. Yeah. That's what it means. Yeah. Regular EDR scans and trackable risk reduction for insurance and compliance. Those are insurance and compliance are going to become larger and larger in the business world, as if they aren't already, due to the cyber risk, due to the ability that small businesses have to mitigate these risks. Insurance companies are going to make sure that you are doing these. So again, I think we've hit on this every single episode. If you've got a policy and you're unsure about what's in it, we would love to sit down with you. We're not insurance. We don't sell policies. We don't underwrite policies. But Josh has some really great people on staff that spend the time to go through word by word, line by line, making sure that your small business is covered and wherever they can help. So,
yep, for sure.
Well, that hits our questions. Josh, I'm glad you were able to make it. We held up. No, it's all good.
It's been a busy week, but
good.
This is valuable. So I wanted to run up here and help out. So.
What else? Any parting thoughts?
Man, no, I don't have anything. Unless you want like dad advice or something, we can always do that, right?
I don't.
I've got 6 kids. I'm full of it. Yeah.
He's full of the advice.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, hey, let's get out of here. Let's wish everybody thanks for joining us on another Two Fish Tuesday. Come back again next week, 12:30, youtube.com/@twofishtechnology. Leave us a question in the chat. We'll see it. We'll answer it. Each Tuesday, leave us one while we're live, and we'd love to answer it then. And if we don't know, we'll tell you we don't know, but we'll get back to you, because that's what we do.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank y'all much. Have a great week, y'all.
Bye.